Yeah, for several reasons. Indeed, we did a case study, and then we evaluated, assessed how the Cellule is working, and we found it highly efficient, highly effective. I think there are a few strengths here. One of them is this: they started very early, quite some time ago, 20 years ago. They were one of the pioneers in Europe to do such activities. I think it's very good that they are working on the enterprise level. Often there are such agencies or such teams, cellules, that are being based somewhere in the ministries, and they have problems to directly communicate with enterprises. But here they are functioning very close to the enterprises, so they have a very good, very close relationship with their clients. I think a third interesting point is that they are working with big enterprises as well as with small enterprises. So they can communicate to big enterprises, they can learn from their initiatives, and they can channel this knowledge towards small enterprises. I think it's definitely a strength. And overall, I think it's very good that they have practical instruments like the eco-diagnostics. They have tailored support for enterprises, not just general communications, but they go and do hand-holding with enterprises. And it is very useful because every SME is different. They need tailored, direct support and not just an overall approach. So I think the Cellule has been very good in this respect. I think Belgium overall has a good performance. Belgium has some very good pioneering companies, big ones and small ones, that are doing very well in terms of resource efficiency, that are taking their own initiative, that are having very successful business cases for the environment. So we've been often using them as examples in Europe as a best practice, as a success story examples. But at the same time, it's not a complete success in Belgium as well. We see certain sectors, we see certain enterprises which are struggling with compliance, which are still having difficulties at the bottom of the row. I think overall Belgium does well compared to its neighbors, but there's a diversity of achievements which needs to be addressed. There's been a positive change in our understanding that environmental protection works the best way if it's done together with enterprises, if it's done in a way that is attractive for them and in a way that it brings positive benefits, not just for the environment, but also for businesses and for the economy as a whole. So I think there's this understanding among European companies in several countries that environment is not just a cost, not just a burden, but actually it's an opportunity in two ways. One is about resource efficiency. If you use less resources, less energy, less water, less raw materials, then you can reduce your costs. If you reduce your costs, you will be more competitive, you will be performing better in the markets. And secondly, I think there's an understanding that there's a market there in Europe and in a global sense that is demanding green goods and green services. And Europe has been a market leader in this, and it's very important that this market is growing, and European enterprises are well placed to take opportunities, business opportunities on these markets. So I think there's more and more enterprises, big ones, small ones, who understand this, who are acting on this, and I think there are positive results. Of course, it's not an overall rosy picture. There are laggers behind, especially SMEs. They need help. They need hand-holding, explanations, and direct financial supports, which we are trying to give from Europe, from member states. But I think there's overall a positive trend that is actually environment, positive understanding and positive developments, that environment is a business opportunity and it works well for enterprises. So we have actually two programs, two documents that we are operating for helping small and medium-sized enterprises, for them to better understand the environment and better perform in terms of the environment. One of them is ECAP, the Environmental Compliance Assistance Program. That dates back from 2007. Here the main emphasis is on compliance, helping enterprises to better comply with the environmental regulations. Whenever we are developing new regulations or whenever we are reviewing them, we try to take into consideration the views of SMEs. We are consulting them, and then for implementation, we are giving them better advice, better help, how they can be in compliance. And there's another major initiative which came out in the summer of 2014, which is the Green Action Plan for SMEs. It's an action plan that lists 34 actions on the European level that is helping SMEs to become more resource efficient. These are practical actions. There's some financing available on the European level. There's some capacity building available on the European level. And we are putting in place new instruments. For example, by the end of 2015, we hope that a European resource efficiency self-assessment tool will be available for our SMEs, where they can go and they can check their resource efficiency performance. How does it compare to European benchmarks? Are they doing well? Are they doing poorly? And there will be direct advice coming from this website how they can improve their performance, what kind of technologies or business solutions that are available to improve their environmental performance and reduce their resource use. That's one example, but there are several others that are being in the framework of this action plan.